Did him some
Tie
lipstick.
your
You
shoe,
didn't tell me to
tie your shoe, pull up your pants,
get my grit.
tuck your shirt in.
Okay, now, we're going to, turn the floor over to Charlie, who's gonna give us a demonstration on remote operation of the computers.
Four of us
recording?
sitting,
Are you recording?
Excuse me?
Are you recording?
Yeah.
four of us sitting at this table have some things in common, one of them being amateur radio. We're used to communications over long distances and working with electronics and computers, and now computers have become part of our ham radio project. It's an ongoing thing with some of us. Leaving here last year, heading home, I got a call, and it was a person that had rented the club in New York to do certification for security guards, which is a law enforcement training they have to do annually to keep their certificate and be able to do their jobs. Couldn't get in the club. Now the club is controlled by magnetic cards. You take the card out, and there's a little reader, and you, beep, and the door opens. Beep, the gate opens. He's out at the gate, beep, 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 nothing, not opening. So I told him, let me pull over and I'll get right back to you. I pulled off the road. This laptop is with me all the time, but now I've got to connect to the internet. Out came my telephone, and I made that a hotspot, and I was able to connect to my computer on my desk at the clubhouse. I looked, and all the privileges for his card, so he could get in the gate, get in the clubhouse, get onto the range, all of those privileges were gone. Somebody had to go in and wipe his card. Don't know who, don't know why, don't care. I was able to give him his privileges remotely, and he was able to go ahead and get into the club, get into the range, did his classroom time, did his range time, we was all set. If I didn't have remote access, I would have had to try to find somebody that could go up to the club, that had the same powers that I have to go in and work with a card. There's a couple of people, but again, getting them, it's always an unknown quantity of whether or not you can have somebody available when you need them. Today, I was just setting these up, and while I was setting them up, I looked at the club, and one of the doors of the clubhouse is open. There's nobody up there. And it's not a common door, it's a side door. Can't close it, can't open it, what do I do? Well, I observed remotely that there was a problem. Now I was able to contact the vice president. She was able to go up and take an action. Because how long do you want a door open to the outside? Even though the room that it's exposed to is not temperature controlled, we still don't want the weather coming in and ruining the clubhouse. So remote control for me is something I work with every day. I work with it for necessity, and I work with it for fun. This is a limited computer. This is a Windows 10 computer, but I cannot put a Office program in here, because if I do, there's not enough memory to keep it updated. So if I want to do anything with Office, I have to talk to another computer. I have one at home specifically set up that I can click on it, and when I click on it, it opens up remotely through my firewall at home and connects to my computer. And that's it. It's right there. I'm all ready to go, and I can run that computer just like I was sitting here.
So is that the desktop that you have on your
That-
computer?
At home,
That's the one in New York.
okay? Now, I'm down here in Florida, and I brought a computer. I only brought 4 computers. I kind of didn't want to overdo it this year. The computer that I have here is behind the firewall of the cable system here. I cannot hook it to the network to where I can just go to it remotely like I usually do. Now I use another program. Any Desk. It's a freeware program, or you can buy it as a professional package. This program allows me to talk through that firewall, so I can go to that PC. Of course, it takes me less time to tell you about it than it does to do it.
You can't just tell the firewall to allow that access to that one?
The cable companies don't like to open their firewalls up, and some of them can't open their firewalls up. Sitting in the living room at Mary Ann's house is a computer, and I set 4 cameras up. The 4 cameras that I set up are watching the house. I want to look at them, that's how I do it. I go to that computer, and I can do anything here that I can do there. I just picked the picture that I wanted to look at. I double clicked on the picture and it opened on the PC at home. And now I can see her carport and her car. And if the golf cart was there, we'd be seeing the golf cart.
And the door.
And the door, the people door, so if anybody's there or anybody's poking around, we can see what's going on. But it's done, like I say, remotely. At the PC there, I can do all of this, but I'm not there.
This is your house here?
This is my house here. He's watching my back door, my front, well, the door we use.
The
dog?
The dog's in the house.
The
That was,
dog's in the
that was
house.
the outside. And he's got, I don't know if we've got anything on the dog right now. I moved the camera because you had it on me.
And Charlie, any desk is the way it works. You're connecting to the internet and routing
Right.
via the internet to home, as opposed to port forwarding from your computer through your router.
Right. You can think
That's
of
one
it,
proprietary step.
you can think of it like a web page. When you connect to a web page, well, this page turns around and connects to the computer that I want. So I don't talk to it, but it's a gateway to the PC that I want to work with. And again, any desk will work in situations where remote desktop won't. Remote desktop is part of Windows. You used it, I don't know, Tom, have you used it? It works very well. You can copy files. Yesterday I sat down and I went to the Fish and Game Club main computer and I copied the 2 programs that are running up there. The camera program with all of our video, all of our camera, the whole security watch network. I can watch every one of the areas at the club to see if anybody's up there and what they're doing. I took that file and I copied it to my PC at Mary Ann's house. I went to the database program that has all of the club memberships, all of our records, and I copied that in current time and put it on the PC here. If something were to happen now, I can restore that simply by going to another computer and dumping them both on there, and we've got all our records. I have our records in 2 places. I have them on the secretary's PC, which is the one the secretary, the vice president, and the treasurer can get to in order to do day-to-day work. Add a member, remove a member, give somebody more rights or less rights. If something happens to that, it's also running on my PC in the office as a secondary system. Mine always lags the other one if there's inputs done. So every year I take the active one, copy it to my PC, and then I'm up to date on everything that's there. 'Cause I can see somebody that tries to go in somewhere and they get denied. I can go and look at my system and see if I've got the card. I can go look at the secretary's system and see if the card is there and if it's been updated. Or if for some reason they didn't get a privilege. And I can correct that again remotely.
Well, not everybody at the club has access to every room because
We have security rooms.
There's a security room, there's a hunter safety room, where these people can't go. His office, only certain people can go. Regular club members have access to the clubhouse, to the ranges, or whatever, to the gate, the pistol range, the rifle range, the gate, the clubhouse, but
When I go to my PC at the clubhouse, all of these green names, each line item here, means that it was successful. This orange is a card that the system doesn't know. It won't let that person have access to anything. And again, I go on my PC and I can look at the roster and see if that card was attached to anybody. It's not. That's either an old card that somebody had, or what also happens, another fishing game club uses the same kind of card system. One of their cards, member comes up and without thinking grabs the wrong card and tries it on the door. It beeps, but it won't let them in. Oh, that's not the right card. Boom, they're in with their card.
But it records the card that they tried to use?
The orange card may have been from the other club, and it doesn't have, unless it's a coincidence, the same number would appear in both systems.
Yeah.
But with the numbering convention, it's very hard to have that kind of duplication.
But it also will do that if somebody hasn't paid their dues. It recognizes that and their card is,
On December 31st, every one of these cards will shut off unless that person has been updated and their drop dead date would be 2023. And there are a few cards right now that have 2023 as the drop dead date. So December 31st, some of them will turn orange if they try to use them, and others will stay in the normal state.
They don't go there for New Year's Eve celebrations, do they?
Not at the range.
No grace period.
That would be horrible, wouldn't that?
Just talking the security the way it's set up, we've got a gate, a single gate into the club. That's got a card reader on it, and each member has a card. So when they drive up to the gate, they use their card, gate opens and they come in. Now I know who's on property. Well, there could be 4 people in the car. When they go on the range, it's mandatory that each person going on the range must use their own card to let themselves in and out of the range. There's a guy that turns their cards off. I won't mention any names, but that guy will turn a card off if he finds somebody letting other people in and out. Liability insurance is an issue that we have to be very, very stringent on. If somebody's on the club property, we don't know who it is. We could lose our insurance if something happened.
Oh,
So I will turn a card off in a heartbeat and, well, I don't need to be part, thank you, leave. Because if you're not gonna protect the club, why should the club care if you're a member or not? Because if you're not a member, you're not getting on. Again, part of my watchdog system, part of the reason why I'm so into remote control is so that I can check it on a, do I need to say hourly or minute by minute or day by day? When I discover something, I can backtrack for a month. In fact,
when
tonight
these turn blue, what's that mean?
that means I'm camped on it. See the green one turn blue?
where his cursor is.
If you're monitoring all the time, do you have a beeper on your watch or something like that?
No, I don't have an alarm to tell me what's going on, otherwise it would drive me absolutely nuts. Because when you get 2 ranges the clubhouse and the gate all have these cards, and if I got a notification for every one, I'd be getting beep, 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 beep. And
Yeah.
trust me, I would.
So then how often do you check?
I check it first thing in the morning. I check it randomly. I've checked it when people were up there doing stuff wrong, and,
It's a big responsibility. Oh my God.
well, and there's people that do not think it's a responsibility, they think it's a pain. Why do we do it? Can't get these people to understand. A fishing game club with an active shooting range is in constant jeopardy of losing their liability insurance. Through an accident, carelessness, or just the fact that somebody won't use common sense. People on the range, this is downrange, this is shooting, something happens, take the gun like this. Well, the person standing over here, next to them, that's why we keep an eye on everything. That's why we have range officers that are up there that make sure you don't do that. Grown-up people, when they're handling a gun, it's no different than these people on the highway traveling at very fast speeds, cutting in and out of you. If you're not gonna pay attention, what's gonna happen? You have to pay attention when you're on the gun range. And again, one of my responsibilities is to try and keep ahead of some of these people. We can warn them, we can ban them. We have very limited, we can't make them safe. We can make the club unavailable to them if they can't be safe. Now, I know this is kind of fast, and I've got two other laptops here.
Before you go there, could I ask a question?
You can
Charlie?
ask a question.
I think the question about whether or not you have some sort of an alarm coming from some infraction that occurs in this program would seem to make sense. Is this program linked with something that would give you, say for instance, a listing of alarms?
It does record alarms,
The software does,
Software
but
does.
is it linked with anything?
but I don't have it linked with anything real time.
Okay.
Again, some people say I spend too much time policing it as it is. If I had an alarm, I'd say I was too much involved.
Okay.
Because
Does somebody else watch this in addition to you?
I've got several of the officers of the club that also can go in and monitor.
Okay, but do they do that?
Yeah.
Are they doing it?
Yeah,
Okay.
they
All
will,
right.
they will check, they will,
I don't think
So-
they do as often as you do. They probably do it once or twice a day.
again, it's the number of,
But they work.
and we all work.
Yeah, so if somebody goes up and tries a card and they don't get access, does that transaction get recorded
The
somewhere?
transaction gets recorded that they had a failure to get in,
Okay,
and the card number, and if the card's a legitimate card, when I look and see it in orange, I will check it myself.
okay,
But generally, the default system is I get a phone call, because my personal number is listed as the emergency number.
okay.
Going back to my first story, that's why I got the call while I was traveling, is I'm down as the contact person for emergencies or anything else in the club. And again, if I'm capable of getting in and taking a look, generally I can take some kind of action or make a notification to somebody that can. There are some things that no matter how much we put physical control on, opening and closing things, there's some things we still have to have an in-person visit on. I don't know which way to go with that. In a business situation or security guards situation, they have the monitors up in their area, and they're actually watching them full-time in real time.
But not at the range.
But not at the range.
Okay.
our monitoring is primarily an interest of a few of us that want to keep the club safe.
Okay.
We're not mandated by law to have it. Although if Hochul found out about it, I'm sure it'd be mandatory at every fishing game club in the state because our gun laws are so strict. It started out because we used to have a lock on the gate at the main entry point of the club. And people had two ways around that. Give somebody a key or make a key for somebody else. So then we went to a combination lock. Now that's great because every year we put a new combination in it. Well, that's even easier. They just give everybody the combination and now,
Sure.
and then we have to go up. Are you a member? Have you got your membership card? Again, I'm supposed to be there to enjoy the club. This is more enjoyable this way than having to be up there and literally do a policing action. Electronically, I can keep my distance and still have a thumb on the operation.
Could you, again, going back to Peggy's question, I'm not suggesting that everything that occurs would alarm, but for instance, a malfunction or a denial of entrance, something like that, it seems to me like there'd be a real value in getting that information right now, because it's real time. Where looking at the records later is after the fact.
It's got, again, a double edge to it. There are people that go up to the range, they take their card and it won't let them in, and I get a call and I look, well, you didn't pay your dues. So am I supposed to have sympathy for the person that drove up and tried to get in but didn't pay their dues? And I get a lot of that. The reason why you're not getting in is because the security system is working. You don't belong in there if you're not a paid up member. And
Are you referring to something like that open door?
Yes.
now, open door, I could push this further and have alarms, but our activity hasn't warranted it. Our activity has been reasonable enough that we can keep on top of it day to day. The door that I reported to the vice president today has probably not been open more than a day. Because I go through and I try to make an inspection every morning. At least once in the morning, and sometimes at night I'll take another round. I do have a former sheriff and state investigator that's a member that will go up and do a walk around occasionally. So I do have people that are up there, and I do get reports back from people when they find something that's not right or they have a question about.
Just one more question and I'll shut up. But the system's sort of intriguing. Can you, from here, go back and look at the video? Let's say, for instance, you had a failure at, I don't know, 10 o'clock this morning. Can you, from here, go back in your film and see who that person was?
The film will show me, but the card system will tell me. And why I say it that way is, or the video system will tell me, because I can find out on the card what times people were up there, and then I can go to the camera system when I get the camera system open. I can go to the camera system and I can pick something, and I'll pick, this is the meeting room. And again, I probably should have put it up on the big screen, but in the meeting room, you see right now it's dark. Up on the top, it says live view, and next to it, it says clips. When I click on the clips, I I can go in. It'll catch the occasional member in and out, and it records the time. But it also does some things, I was looking at it earlier. Again, I would have to go to the card system, find the date on this picture, and then find out who accessed the building. The problem there is, there's gonna be one card reading at the door that these three people came into the clubhouse on. Now, the clubhouse, we don't mandate each person open the door, because the bathrooms are there, and it's not a high security area. The rifle range, every one of those people had better, if they're allowed up there, they have to sign in, and they sign in with their card. If they're not allowed there, that's it, they're not allowed there. Somebody lets them in, they jeopardize their membership because they let people who are not authorized. I have no qualms about shutting somebody off, because if we lose our insurance, I lose the club. I lose the ability to go up and do the stuff that I want to do there. I'm a hunter safety instructor. I teach that. I'm also a rifle and a pistol instructor. I work with the police departments, different police agencies for training. I don't want anything that's going to hurt the ability to run this club. And again, that's why the security, and so far, it's been pretty much what we need. I had a nice one here I was looking at earlier.
If a few people come in on one card, how do you get the names of these people who don't belong there?
When they go on the rifle range,
Well, no, when they're coming in the main gate,
the main gate,
yeah,
uh,
when they come in with one member's card, like 3 people, one has a card.
this is the class that's up there. The instructor is the female that's walking around earlier. That's also my vice president. And this room is gonna fill up, you're gonna see the class, you're gonna see. It's not a continuous flow video. It's choppy because it's motion sensitive, and it takes a snippet of it here and there. But it's enough to know who was up here and when. During a class, of course, the instructor is the responsible person. She's got a list of the people taking the class. If something happens, we can go back and trace it back to who did it. We're not that kind of a police agency, though. We're more interested in people that are violating the safety issues of the rifle and pistol range.
Yeah, those desks wouldn't be allowed on the range.
No,
Um,
if they are not a member of the club, they are not allowed to shoot on the range, period. You take your buddy, your brother, your sister, go up on the range and say, here, shoot, you forfeit your membership, basically, because it's written everywhere in our, and again, I'm getting off of the remote control stuff that I wanted to show and more into security issues at the club. The functionality is what you see. We can watch them on video, and we can record their entry and exit from the different functions at the club. Somebody may come through the gate, into the clubhouse, out the gate, and be gone. They came up, they looked around, they didn't shoot that day, whatever reason, and they left. Got a few people that do that. which is good, because they're checking on the club to make sure everything's fine. I've got a fire alarm system. We haven't implemented it. It's something that would be tied into our gate system, and that could give notification. But again, who's gonna watch it all the time? And I'm one person. I watch it pretty damn good, but unless you've got a paid staff, nobody's really obligated to monitor this stuff. You can't hand a phone to somebody and say, this is your weekend to watch the club. It's all voluntary. But the tools are there so that we can keep a pretty good handle on it.
Are you training someone to take over?
The girl that's running this class is my vice president, and she's next in line if I leave. And if,
She wants to do that. She wants to
oh,
do it?
she's good.
So
She's,
Last year before last, we started a ladies into practical shooting. And I came up with the acronym because we were looking for a ladies group. And ladies into practical shooting, LIPS, LIPS. It's our ladies group. There's a member of our ladies group. These girls get together. They can have lady trainers if they want them, or a few of us will work with them, and I work with them because, again, I was one of the founders of the organization. And it's nice to have active club members. The vice president and I are both fully involved in this, so the club gets a good representation with these people. They are encouraged to become club members, but we treat it like a rental. Remember I said only members could shoot. Well, people can rent the club. And there are certain provisions there that they can use for shooting or for training. We are classified with our town as a training facility. And that gives us a good break on our school taxes. We don't have any real high taxes because of that. We don't want to jeopardize it. We want to hold classes in firearms, classes in gun safety. I have a group that's come up there now about 4 years in a row. New York State Tactical Officers, Police Officers Association. This is a state-run group. They come on and put a seminar up. Our big casino in the area, Turning Stone, has all kind of facilities for teaching and that type of thing. They have a week at Turning Stone, and they bus them out to our range, and the range is closed to everyone but them to come up and train. So we do have some people that like what we've got, and they're willing to pay a fee to come up and use the facility. And again,
the SWAT team comes up and uses it.
the Utica snipers come up and practice on our range all the time, part of the SWAT team. Several security guards, to include the security guards that are in the federal building, they come up and do their training on our facility. So the cameras, the cards, it helps to make this the kind of place that people will want to come to.
And Charlie, looking back at the software, is the learning curve, I mean, I know some of these software programs get pretty involved, and it has to be almost the only thing you do, but is the learning curve such that, I mean, it would like fit all of us? I don't like that hesitation.
Well, no, it is dependent on which one of the three questions you are asking me. If you want to know how to run your computer at home, yes, anybody can get into that. It's just like running the computer in front of you, and it just takes a little getting used to that you're doing it remotely. You got to learn what's on this machine and how to get it from here to there or from there to here. It takes a little getting used to, but no more than learning how to run the computer. Running the cameras. There's an icon on here. You click on the icon, it opens up the camera program. You just click on the camera you want to look at. You find a camera you wanna look at, you can look at the clips. Clips are everything that's been saved. Now, the got you in this is there's two of us at the club that set up things like cameras, put them on the system, do all of the background work that the camera's gotta have to run. So yes, that's not something everybody's gonna get into. But the actual operation, all I have to do is give you the information, click, click, and you can watch all our cameras.
Okay, but like Joan, say she's got her large genealogical program, say on a computer at home, but she maybe carries a laptop, and for some reason she needs to go access.
Once you access the computer at home, you're on the computer at home. That simple. Remote desktop is a much less compromising piece. Any desk has a few little quirks, like it doesn't fill your screen the way a remote desktop does. Remote desktop is just like sitting at your other computer. Any desk puts it in a window. And I suppose the easiest way to show that I'm going to try to open up two different things here. Everything takes time. This is the desktop of the secretary's PC, just like when you turned it on, but you notice the size of it?
Yeah, it's quite small.
It's being run in this other window. You're not filling the whole PC. That's something you have to get used to. I can still do everything I want to do, but this being a smaller computer makes it harder. A bigger computer, I can get to where I can look at that window almost like I'm sitting there.
Okay, but that would make it pretty limiting for someone who needed to look at a screen to gather data.
Right. Again, limitations of the system. However, I would rather look at it on that than not be able to look at it at all. Because this same picture, I can get here. But boy, you try to run a computer from here, and you're gonna be pulling your hair out.
Can't even read the news on there.
Again, that's your secretary's computer. If he accesses his own computer at home like you would do, it's gonna be full screen.
And again, if you can get the cable company or whoever's providing your internet service to open up the port forwarding, you can have it the remote desktop program.
They won't do that here, by the way.
My
Quad core.
genealogy is on a website.
Huh?
I don't need my laptop. I can go on my genealogy right here.
Oh, okay.
Anybody, as long as I remember the password, and I don't, because I use the password manager who remembers it for me.
But again, the applications that I'm talking about, I'm traveling,
Yeah.
I wanna look something up. The internet's wonderful, but the internet doesn't know what my constitution and bylaws say. I can go bring up a copy. I can copy it and bring it here and print it for somebody if I have to. I've got a policies and procedures manual that every member gets. It's also in a PDF on our website, so it can be brought down and printed by every member. What I was gonna show next is if anybody wants to see a little more about any desk, I'll show you how to find it, how to install it, how to use it. So,
Yeah,
again,
why don't you give us that, Charlie?
all right, again, this one's already got any desk on it. And
Do you use just the free program yourself?
the AnyDesk program?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
In fact, that PC, they have gotten on me and said, you look like a commercial user. I use it so much, but I do a lot of playing. this PC has AnyDesk on it, and I've got an icon in the tray, so that I just have to click it once. And when it gets around to it, it brings it up. And again, DFGC-secretary is the club computer that I look at. And then the Nook NUC is the one sitting at Mary Ann's. And when this program's installed, you simply click on the icon. And it says, wait.
Get up behind it, I don't know.
And there's the PC that's over at
My house.
Mary Ann's with the cameras on it. Where's the dog?
Probably behind your chair.
She's hiding. But again, this program, I could not look at that computer. I'm gonna get that.
So what are you trying to install something onto these?
I'm gonna install something on this one.
Oh,
I'm gonna install a program that I'm running here.
oh.
Get some better move it.
The thing with this is, if I could open the port forwarding on her computer, I would have these cameras set up so that they went through that. I wouldn't have to do this. This is my way of cheating to get into their system. And again, I can look at any one of these cameras. It's real time.
Where was your club? I didn't know. Where was the range? Where is it?
Where is it?
Honey,
I
excuse
mean-
me just a minute, $870 and change.
Yeah. it's
Gotta
on-
do it, you gotta do
Yep,
it.
Yep.
Okay, so you
State, where is your?
New York, upstate New York. This is the cameras for that. And again, I have pretty much everything set up so that I can go and do the functionality I want when it gets around to it.
So everything you have on this one is on that one?
On this one does not have
That
any
doesn't have
desk
anything.
on it. And I'm gonna show you how to get any desk and get it on it.
Joan, when you get home, you have to do this.
Gives me the creeps.
You may never have a need, this are all the cameras.
I have Wise at home.
Yeah,
That's about it, and I get too many notifications, it makes me crazy.
yeah. That's another reason why I don't have the notifications on. But when I was looking today, I clicked on this camera right here. This is the side door to the clubhouse, and this was open. Now, you don't think about it, but that door being open, all the moisture, it's raining up there pretty heavy. It's an all wood building, wooden floors, and I mean, the wood is 3-4 inch wide timbers. It's a nice old wooden floor. When they inlaid wood like that, you don't need the moisture. You don't need just close the door. Somebody let it in a not fully latched condition. Wind went by, because there's a little narrowing here, caused it to open. I wouldn't have known it had I not gone and looked. And I've got the rifle range. I can look at the rifle range. These are all of the shooting positions. And I can see what people are doing. What people up there don't know, and I sure am not gonna tell them, that I can click on this one and I can turn the audio on and listen to them.
He's gonna put this video online, you know.
I'm not gonna put it all online.
I see an application here for Tom and I already. With slow scan TV. Tom's forever saying, well, how did my picture look? And I say, hey, man, you look and see how it looks.
And I can listen and hear.
Again, this gives me the ability to look over people's shoulder. And when you see somebody that's a hindrance or a danger to themselves or others, you've gotta do something.
Yeah,
Say
we watched
something.
those
And you
two
can talk
guys
to
with
them
the
too,
gun.
probably, right?
I can't talk back to
No?
them because I don't want them to know that I can hear what they're doing in here. It's posted, we make the legal issues, but it does tell them they're on camera and sound. But nobody thinks about that.
Joe, are you taping all this? Is this a
Excuse me? Yeah.
You edited
Is
it.
it video? Oh, my God.
Yeah, you don't,
He's gonna edit it out or he's gonna find out just how bad it is to be hacked.
Oh,
I'm a little confused, Charlie, about your bylaws and your responsibility and your insurance and just the kind of club it is. Don't you have somebody present in the building at all times?
No, this
That's why.
This club is located on almost 145 acres out in the country. We have electricity and we have cable TV. The cable TV provides our internet. We didn't have that 15, 20 years ago. They wanted $2,000 just to bring it into the clubhouse. We took a business account, they put it in for free. Business account was a couple of $100 a month, but we have higher speed internet, and we don't have the TV because we don't need the TV. It's not a home. Nobody's up there to be entertained. But the pistol range, these are my plates. We have 2 plate racks that have 6 plates on it. They're set up and you shoot them, you knock the plates down. You get 6 rounds, there's 6 plates, and you're timed. And this is all done up on the pistol range. It's done in the evening, and it's done in a group.
hey Charlie, we're getting into a little bit of a crunch time-wise. Could you cover this downloading the program?
Okay, if you come and look over my shoulder,
Sorry, I didn't know.
No, I'm good. Thank you.
I'm going on the internet, just like any other internet connection, and I'm gonna type AnyDesk. Look at that. Must have been there before.
What did you type in there?
AnyDesk,
Any desk.
and the download came in. Now, you see where this says our remote PC? Well, I don't know what that is. The one that I want is gonna come from AnyDesk. I look until I find the one that's AnyDesk.
And make sure it says free download.
And there's a bunch of them, of course. And I think that's their logo.
So if I have a Mac, could
You can run it on Mac.
Right, but could you
Okay.
get
This is
something
what I
from
want.
your, from the Windows to a Mac?
It probably runs just on both, just by down, it's
Yeah.
probably not a Mac version.
Hmm.
But I'll let you know
Okay,
this evening,
here's-
because I'm loaded on my Mac and see, like,
It's
wanna
got
do it?
Windows, Mac, Android. If you look on my phone, you see I've got an icon on there for AnyDesk, and I can go in on the phone and talk to the Windows.
So you just go in and pick the one you want.
I'm gonna-
But you have to
okay.
get, of course you have to have permission to.
We even have it for
somebody
Android.
In another
Yeah.
Yeah.
house, say. has a
Well, they got it for
computer.
Linux,
Yeah,
Everything.
if you,
so
if
I'm
it's
gonna
not
download
yours.
it.
Right,
Like your
they
son
don't
or
usually
something.
do that. I guess.
And
I mean, you just can't pick a random person.
No. You know. I mean, like Joe, maybe he'd wanna look at my Mac.
Okay, after I download it, I open the file, and it's completely,
I can see.
So now I
so what do you
say-
need to make the connection to the computer?
you lost me now, what,
How does this
Cable.
guy,
oh, that's what this program's gonna do. Now, this just gave me an address, that's gonna be the address for this computer.
381-855-755. Tom, commit that to your, Tom, commit that to your
I got it.
photograph your
Yeah.
Don't worry about it, you never know how much I change these things. But again, I make a note simply so I can install any desk on this device. And it's telling me all the things I'm gonna accept and install. Okay. And the funny thing is, I think it's basically already installed. It's asking me if I want to install the printer, which right now I don't want to install the printer.
Is that wireless?
Yeah,
What, wireless?
if you've got a wireless printer, it will let you do that.
Okay.
Start your free trial or buy, I'm gonna start it. See, if I'm gonna support customers remotely, I'm a business. You gotta decide what you wanna tell them that you are. And again, I'm not connecting to my organization. I just basically wanna connect to my personal devices.
So you're giving information about your other computer?
I'm giving information about me.
Oh.
It's when they turn around and say, "Hi, Charlie, how are you?" that you get nervous. So damn many different. Now, I do not give them the password for my email. I give them a password that I have a generic one that I use a lot of times so that I'll remember it, but it's not attached to anything business, financial, emails or anything, because I don't want anybody to have a key to get into.
Right, so are they periodically sending you messages?
They
An email?
will send me an email. So I'm gonna put down here 1, Summer with a capital S, and 2. We started using this on the help desk. People would call up, they'd forget their mainframe password, so we'd reset it to 1 Summer 2 and tell them when you get in there, pick one of your own, boom. And in the winter, we'd give them 1 Winter 2, of course with the first letter being capitalized. It worked for a lot of people, and it was good for us because we always had a starting point to work with them. And I registered the account. And I don't know what you're telling me, I don't have time to pay attention to you now. I'm just gonna close. And you see they gave me an icon. Well, this icon is nice, there's my information. If I click here where it says to enter a remote address, and I go over here and I look at this one, see it's got a number up there, 77 2 494 104.
So how did this one get an address though?
same way this one just did,
Because this was already, has the AnyDesk on it?
because I'm already running it on that one.
Oh.
Now, this one, it's asking me for a password, and I do have a password I've set up for running my system. I want it to log on automatically from now on because it gets to be a pain in the butt to have to do them all. You're either gonna be nice or you're gonna be a stinker. You're being nice. There's my, that
Ah.
computer.
Oh, that's
You
certainly
see?
straightforward enough.
See how I'm running it? And there are other features in here that I can tell this thing to do certain things or not do certain things. Just like any other program, you can custom it. But that's all it takes.
Yeah.
And like I say, I use it where I can't use what I wanna use.
Yeah,
That's remote desktop.
If this computer goes to sleep, will that wake it up?
Yes, if I tell it to.
Okay.
In other words, if I have that set to wake on land, it'll wake it up.
That's, see, I was looking at that at home, and I didn't get that part.
But again, these two PCs right here, I can talk from one to the other. I don't have to know how to set up a firewall or get through a firewall. This is strictly install it and run it. What I have found convenient is if I go on this computer and there's a file on this computer that I want, if there's a file on here that I want, open said me. Now, I'm just gonna look and see if there's something on here. Deerfield Fish Letter. I'm gonna right mouse click on it. And of course, when you right mouse click on it, it allows you to copy it. And I copied it. I'm gonna minimize it on this one. I'm gonna open up my folder here. I'm gonna go to my download or my documents, right mouse click. I get it right. And you see I've got the word paste now highlighted. I'm gonna hit paste. And in my documents, Deerfield Fish Letter appears. And for all things practical, I should be able to run my Deerfield Fish Letter here. It's a Word document. This is opening Word. I didn't say it was fast.
So when you access this computer on here, why do you have to take an individual file? You want that individual file inserted into this? Why couldn't you just open the individual file instead?
I could open it here, but it would not be on this PC.
You'd have to
Oh,
go
you
back
wanted
and
to
copy
copy
it
it.
every time you wanted it.
You wanna put it right on?
Right. If I
Right, now
don't-
he's got it on both.
If I don't
Yeah.
import it from there to here,
Yeah,
it's still there.
Right.
okay.
And that's basically the way that works.
In other words, you couldn't actually work on it either
I could work on it here. I can open that file right here.
from this, that you brought over from here. You could open it up, the file, and then work on it too?
I could open it.
Oh,
You can change it, but
and
then
it would
that one
change
won't
it
have the
over here
changes.
too,
Right.
right? Would it change it over here also?
See what
If you-
see what it's doing? It's now running it over there. I don't know what the problem is.
Oh, sorry.
There might be something wrong with my,
No, I
the
distracted
directory
you.
is invalid. Why is it direct? I
It's
don't know.
interesting.
I'm closing that, let me go up here.
That's okay, Charlie. We can wrestle through these
Okay.
ones.
But, again, this is my workaround that I have come up with for when I'm traveling. I leave the hotel or the place where I'm staying, that goes with me everywhere. I can go back to my room without having to drive back, or I can go to my house in New York. New York, I do it remote desktop. But guess what's sitting as a backup on my PC at home? AnyDesk. And think for a minute, why would why would I want a duplicate way to get into my PC at home? It's there, it's running, it's fine. Cable companies from time to time will change the IP address of your network. Now, you log on, you got your internet, but I go away, I try to log on, it won't let me in, because that's no longer my IP address at home. AnyDesk, when this PC is on, it talks to the AnyDesk server, just like talking to a web page, and AnyDesk server says, oh, your PC at home is on. When I turn this one on, it says, hey, by the way, your PC at home is on. I can click on the PC at home, but what's that gonna tell me about what my IP address is at home? I run a very simple program, canyouseme.org. That tells me what my IP is. Now, I tell the PC that I'm at the IP address and my port number. Now I'm able to go back into a remote desktop, which is my preferred method of communication. Was it helpful?
I think it's very interesting, and I'm kind of anxious to play with it.
That means I got somewhere.
Well, you know, I used a remote desktop for quite a while, and but anyhow, this looks pretty cool because I wouldn't have to port forward.
But you also saw how long was I here? This did not have it on it. If I had this written down, which I do, by the way, have that information in here. I just typed that number in, it brings that up, and now, when I look at this, I'm closing out of the program, when I open the program, you will see that there's a window being shown in blue. I go in and give it the name of the computer that it is, and it remembers it. And I can see what computer is lit. This one, this computer, this low computer,
He's thinking, it's a ThinkPad.
I hate computers. I really hate them. Come on. And I bring everything down into the tray so it's a single click. Sometimes it's a good thing.
And Charlie, I think we're gonna have to call it to an end
Yep.
because he's gonna wanna come and start
Not a
setting up here
problem.
before long. You raised a, you know what, that's a good issue, the IP address. We should spend some time on that and how to create a static IP so that your router doesn't reissue IP addresses.
If you look at it, this has got two of them. One is the one at Mary Ann's, and the other one is the secretary's up in New York. So once you put them on and you tell it to keep them in, if it was in black, not the color, but the little dot was in black, I know it was on. If I have the PC up there set to wake on LAN, I could do it. one other caveat real quick. I shut my PC down, I accidentally shut down the PC on the other end. Well, it's gonna stay off until there's a power failure or somebody turns it on. I get these light controls.
Yeah.
You plug them in the wall, set them up with your phone,
All right.
so you can turn your light on and off. I plug the computer into it. If I do make that mistake, I bring that up, turn the computer off and back on. It boots up normally, and
Ah,
I can
awesome.
get back into it.
Awesome.
I gave you one of those last year. I don't know if you did anything with it.
Pam, Sienna here?
Pam?
Yeah. Okay.
Pam who?
Sienna?
Oh,
Okay.
my daughter's
Oh.
name's Pam, but,
Okay, Charlie, thank you.
yeah, good, Charlie.
Again, I have so much involved in it at a personal level. I enjoy it. I like to share it.
That's why we do it.
And the range.
Well, Charlie,
It's in Deerfield, New York.
Oh, dear God.
I can tell you that just this past week, I went back to your video on thumb drives and watched that whole thing.
Originally from Vermont.
So,
Didn't have a damn thing to do constructive.
yeah, but, and we'll get into that.